Meghan Markle's first husband just revealed the shocking reason he left her, and it has left the whole world in shock.
And another Daily Mail TV exclusive, too posh to push. Meghan Markle made her first husband agree to a pregnancy contract to make sure that she was afforded every possible luxury if she gave birth to their child.
Meghan Markle's ex-husband just broke his silence after nearly a decade, revealing the real reasons behind their marriage's collapse, including Meghan's alleged confession about infertility, her vision board featuring Prince Harry, and the emotional distance that grew between them. His revelations have just completely changed Meghan's The Public narrative and revealed some major red flags nobody in the royal family ever saw.
She'd always had an interest in the royal family.
The chances of meeting the Queen are pretty slim.
Oh, the irony. That's a 15-year-old Meghan Markle on a bus tour in London in 1996.
For nearly a decade, Trevor Engelson, Meghan Markle's ex-husband, honored a silent pact. He moved on, built a new family, and a successful career in Hollywood, and never once leveraged his past as Meghan Markle's first husband for fame or sympathy. He stayed out of the narrative, letting the world believe the story that was being told. But silence, as they say, has an expiration date. And according to those close to him, Trevor's silence finally shattered the day he looked around and realized the world had been fed only one carefully curated version of his life, her version, not his, and certainly not the truth that his own family had seen coming, a truth they had quietly, painfully tried to warn him about long before the marriage unraveled. For years, observers found one detail puzzling: the palpable distance from Trevor's family. While Meghan charmed the public, his own parents and sister remained noticeably reserved. Their warmth never seemed to meet the moment. Their congratulations felt cautious. People wondered, were they just private? Were they cold? Now, the reason for that emotional chasm is coming into focus. It wasn't a lack of love for their son. It was a protective instinct. Those closest to Trevor suggest his family sensed something early on, a calculation, a performative quality, a mismatch between the radiant girlfriend and the reality they perceived. They saw the architect, not the fairy tale. Their distance wasn't a disapproval of Trevor's happiness. It was a quiet alarm bell he chose for a time not to hear. Trevor's decision to finally speak, even if not on a public stage, represents a seismic shift. It's not about revenge, it's about reclaiming a history that was erased. It's the final crucial witness taking the stand to testify that the official story, the one of a naive actress finding her prince after a failed youthful romance, is incomplete. Now, Meghan and Trevor's story began like many in Hollywood. They met in 2006, built a life over 6 years, got engaged in 2010, and married in a joyous 4-day celebration in Jamaica in 2011. To the outside world, it was a picture-perfect love story, but the marriage lasted only 2 years. The official polite line was irreconcilable differences, often attributed to the strain of long distance. While Meghan filmed Suits in Toronto and Trevor worked in LA, however, a far more intimate and painful detail has emerged from Trevor's inner circle. During their marriage, Meghan allegedly first demanded Trevor sign a pregnancy contract. Now here is where things get shocking. Meghan then confided in Trevor that she could not have children. For any couple, this is a profound relationship-defining moment, typically met with shared grief, medical exploration, and a reshaping of a future together. Trevor, according to those close to him, accepted this without hesitation. He loved her. He reshaped his own dreams, let go of his expectation of fatherhood, and committed to a future with just the two of them. He never questioned it, and he certainly never used this deeply personal confidence against her. Then, years later, the world watched as Meghan Markle, now the Duchess of Sussex, announced her first pregnancy with Prince Harry. For Trevor, this was not a moment of public gossip. It was a private detonation. That sincere, painful confession he had honored and built his life around, the sacrifice he had quietly made for their marriage, was suddenly, publicly, and utterly contradicted. The confusion was immediate, followed by a deep personal hurt. It wasn't about jealousy over her new life. It was about the integrity of their old one. That moment marked the first fundamental fracture in his understanding of everything they had shared. It was the crack that made him look back at their entire relationship and wonder, what else had he believed, sacrificed, or embraced that wasn't true? The polite, irreconcilable differences now hid a much more painful, irreconcilable truth. Now, unlike many marriages that end with a painful conversation or a fiery confrontation, Trevor Engelson's union with Meghan Markle concluded with a chilling administrative silence. After building a life together for nearly a decade, from their mid-20s into their 30s, he was given no explanation, no final conversation, no chance at closure. The end did not come with words. It arrived in a package. Delivered to his door was Meghan's wedding ring. There was no note, no letter, no message of any kind, just the cold return symbol of their vows. This gesture was, in many ways, more devastating than any argument could have been. It was a unilateral, silent severance. It communicated that the marriage was not just over, but that its ending was a decision from which he was completely excluded, a finalized transaction, not a shared dissolution. The emotional distance and quiet imbalance his family had sensed from the beginning now crystallized into a painful, undeniable truth. A source close to him later revealed the depth of the struggle, telling The Sun, "The split with Meghan hit Trevor pretty hard. He went through a rough time during the breakup, and that was only made worse when Meghan got together with Harry. He had to relive it all again, this time in public. It wasn't the most amicable of divorces, and there were hurt feelings on both sides." The divorce was finalized in August 2013. Meghan met Prince Harry in July 2016. Trevor had already begun the long private work of moving on when her new, globally sensational love story erupted, forcing him to relive his own heartbreak on the world's front page. The private pain of the returned ring was now compounded by the very public spectacle of its replacement. Now, this is where Trevor's understanding of his entire past relationship was shattered completely. Years after their divorce, Trevor allegedly learned from sources close to Meghan's old circle about a vision board she had created long before she ever met Prince Harry. This wasn't a board of vague aspirations for happiness or career success. It was a specific, mapped-out blueprint, and at its very center was a photograph of Prince Harry. This was more than a teenage fantasy. It was a strategic document, a visual plan of ascent. It showed that Meghan had not only studied the royal family, but had explicitly envisioned herself within that world, with Harry as her targeted point of entry. For Trevor, this revelation was a brutal key that unlocked every moment of unexplained emotional drift in their marriage. Her distance wasn't a phase or a marital slump. It was a deliberate, steady pivot away from the life they had built and toward a pre-planned destiny she was actively pursuing. The strategy, insiders suggest, didn't stop at the vision board. It extended to the very first meeting. Reports claim that on her initial date with Prince Harry, Meghan wore Princess Diana's favorite perfume, a scent deeply embedded in Harry's memory and associated with his profound sense of loss and longing for his mother. To Harry, this likely created an overwhelming, almost mystical sense of connection and comfort, a feeling of fate. But to those aware of Meghan's meticulous preparation, it was viewed as a masterstroke of emotional targeting. It was a calculated choice designed to bypass casual attraction and forge an immediate subconscious bond tied directly to his deepest vulnerability, his grief. Together, these revelations paint a picture not of a fairy tale romance born of chance, but of a long game operation. The vision board provided the destination, and every subsequent choice, from the scent she wore to the life she left behind, was a deliberate step on that plotted path. For Trevor Engelson, it meant realizing that the woman he married had already, in her mind, moved on to a royal future long before she ever sent back the ring. So for Trevor, these revelations were the final pieces of a haunting puzzle. He saw a pattern of quiet, relentless calculations stretching back years, from the emotional chill that seeped into their marriage to the silent, packaged finality of its end. A devastating question took root. If Meghan's courtship with Harry was this meticulously orchestrated, what had her intentions truly been during their marriage? Was their entire relationship a placeholder until her real target came into view? Across the ocean, the impact of these disclosures reportedly landed not with a bang, but with a slow, disorienting collapse. Prince Harry, who had built his entire public identity around fiercely defending Meghan against all critics, was said to be reacting not with anger, but with a deep, quiet confusion. The man who had blamed the firm, the media, and his own family for every hardship was now, according to insiders, beginning to privately question the very foundation of his own story. He was re-examining past moments, second-guessing narratives, and confronting the possibility that his unwavering trust may have been strategically earned. His reported remark, "Stop blaming using the palace for everything was less a statement of policy and more a signal of personal exhaustion and profound doubt. But this, sources close to Trevor suggest, is only the beginning of what he knows. What he has shared so far is described as just the surface layer. He is said to possess a much deeper, potentially darker archive of truth held in private letters, documents, and unshared memories that he has kept locked away out of a lingering sense of decency or a desire to protect his own peace. The trigger for its release, it is alleged, may be Meghan's own reported efforts to silence him through legal threats and social pressure. The very attempts to muzzle him may be what finally breaks his decade-long restraint. The world has heard Meghan's version, seen Harry's defense, and witnessed the palace's silent maneuvers. Now, the first husband, the man she quietly left behind with a returned ring, holds the key to the prologue of this global fairy tale, and he may finally be ready to turn it. So what do you think? Let me know in the comments, and don't forget to check out our other videos for even more drama. Till next time, bye.